ever just, stop and really think about what actually grounds us? With everything going on, this whirlwind of daily life.
Oh, absolutely.
We're juggling notifications, chasing goals. There's this constant pressure almost to do more, be more.
That feeling, yeah, like you're being pulled everywhere. The
Yeah.
relentless pursuit thing. It's everywhere.
It really is. But if you strip it all back, like what are the absolute basics, the undeniable pillars?
And yet, if you take a breath, the fundamental truths are actually incredibly simple. Powerful, but simple. They kind of frame everything.
Right. And that's exactly what you're digging into today. We've been looking at this really direct piece. It's the written version of Joseph Obama's social media podcast, The Space Between Birth and Death.
Ah, yes. Very concise, honest.
Totally. It takes a really honest look at, well, just being alive, the essence of it.
So our mission here for this deep dive isn't just to skim the surface. We really want to excavate the core ideas, the wisdom about living a meaningful life by focusing right on that space between...
Between birth and death.
Exactly. Those two inescapable events.
Okay, so the piece kicks off with something incredibly stark, almost blunt. It calls them the two guarantees. It doesn't get much more fundamental.
No, it really doesn't. The source puts it so plainly. You were born, and one day you'll die. That's it.
Wow.
Those are the two guarantees. There's a kind of power in that simplicity, isn't there? Just cutting through all the noise, all the stuff we pile on top.
It really does cut through.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about how little control we have over those two specific points, birth and death.
Uh-huh.
The source even says, you didn't choose to be born. One day you just showed up.
It's almost grounding. Why do you think they emphasize that, the passive part of arriving and leaving?
Well, I think by highlighting that lack of control at the start and finish, it sort of forces you to look at the bit you can influence.
The middle bit.
Right. Framing birth and death as these like almost automatic things throws the active part, the part you live, into much sharper focus.
Ah, okay. That makes a lot of sense. So the certainty of the start and end makes us question how we use the time, the really valuable time in between, which naturally brings us to what the source says about, well, the achievement treadmill, the constant striving.
Yeah, what's interesting there is how it pushes back, directly challenges those societal pressures we all feel. The need to achieve, be productive, always hit the next milestone.
Exactly. It sort of takes aim at that feeling, that grind, that climb up some invisible ladder.
Right.
And the message is pretty clear. This isn't a game with points or levels.
Right.
No scoreboard, no trophy at the end. It's such a strong counterpoint to, well, our culture.
It really is. And, if you think about it psychologically, what are we really chasing with all that striving? The source seems to hint the reward isn't some external prize at the finish line, but maybe something found in the living itself.
And that leads perfectly into what, for me, was a real aha moment in the piece. This line, it's not about winning, it's about experiencing.
That's a key shift, isn't it? Huge. Because I think so many of us carry that feeling of, not being enough. Or always being behind somehow.
Oh, definitely. That anxiety of being behind in your career, relationships, whatever it is, it's so common. And the source just tackles it straight on. It says, there's no race, no one is ahead of you, and no one gets out alive anyway. Which is surprisingly kind of liberating when you hear it like that.
It totally is. It's like permission to just breathe out. And then the focus shifts again to something much more, tangible, closer to home. The value of the small stuff, the everyday moments. This part really resonated.
Yes, this is where it gets really relatable, I think. It brings these big ideas right down to the ground. It gives these vivid examples like the way the light filters into your room in the morning, the smell of someone you love, the laugh you didn't expect to have today, or that one friend who checks in even when you go silent. What grabs you about the specific examples?
For me, it's how ordinary they are.
Yeah.
They aren't huge dramatic events. They're the little threads weaving through the day. It made me think about, like this morning, the smell of coffee brewing. Tiny thing, but a moment of quiet comfort.
Exactly.
It's like the source is saying, hey, pay attention to these little things. This is it. This is life.
Spot on. And that simple line, life is made of those, just lands, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's a powerful nudge to just be present, appreciate the details we usually rush past while chasing the big things.
And building right on that, on being present, the source talks about the power of pausing. Even when things are crazy busy, there's this little invitation to just stop for a second.
That suggestion to Pause, even for 5 seconds, and remember that you're still breathing.
Yeah.
Then you still have time. It's so practical. Seems tiny, almost trivial, but the effect on your mindset, your perspective, it can
Yeah.
be huge. A little anchor.
Totally. A little anchor in the middle of the storm. And that small pause, that moment of just noticing your breathing, it lets you be more intentional, right?
Yeah.
About what you do with the rest of that space between.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, we don't control the bookends, birth and death, but the time in the middle, that's where we have some say.
That's the crucial pivot, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is the only part you get to shape. And the source points out the opportunities right there. Time to love. Time to say the hard thing.
Yeah.
Time to forgive. Time to show up. These are active choices, things we can consciously decide to do to fill that space.
And it's not about doing it perfectly either,
Yeah.
which I found really freeing. The source gives this advice. You don't have to do it perfectly.
Yeah, that's important.
You just have to be real, be present, be human. There's such permission in that, you know, to let go of trying to be flawless all the time.
Which brings us really to this powerful call for living with awareness. Just knowing our time is finite can actually sharpen our focus, deepen how we engage with right now.
This leads to a really big question the source asks directly. How do you want to live, knowing this ends? That's a heavy one, a profound prompt. Why do you think framing it like that is so effective?
Well, I think facing our mortality, not in a dark way, but just clearly seeing it, it strips away the unimportant stuff.
Yeah.
It forces us to think about what really matters. It's a powerful push to align how we act with what we value.
Yeah. And the source suggests isn't about fear or regret,
No.
but awareness. It says because that awareness, that's where meaning lives. It's about letting go of chasing external stuff and just being here
Yeah.
in your life as it unfolds.
Exactly. And the final message wraps it up so well. Let go of trying to win. Just be here right now. And live like the space between your first and last breath actually matters. And then the kicker. Because it does. It brings it right back to the importance of those everyday experiences we talked about.
So if we boil it all down, the core insight from digging into the space between birth and death is really this deep appreciation for the small things, the everyday moments that actually make up our whole finite life.
Yeah.
It's about consciously shifting focus, isn't it? Away from that relentless chase for some future goal towards fully being in the here and now, experiencing it.
Absolutely. And so maybe for you listening right now, just consider this. Knowing the beginning and end are fixed, what's maybe one small intentional way you can bring a bit more awareness into your own unique space between, maybe even just today?
It's definitely a powerful question to sit with, and like the source reminds us so wisely, take care of your breath, take care of your people, and take care of your time.